Hi, today I'm talking about Robert Sternberg's Triarchic theory of intelligence. Robert Sternberg was a cognitive scientist or theorist back in, I believe it's about the 70s. But his whole life, what was cool about him is his whole life was very dedicated to the idea of intelligence and how how intelligence should be measured or what intelligence really was. So he created the Triarchic theory of intelligence. Later on, there are multiple things that he calls it. Sometimes it's called successful intelligence. So he rates intelligence not just off of IQ alone, but off of your socio-cultural interactions and how you interact with your environment, like what that means. So what happened when Robert Sternberg was, I believe it was about elementary school, they had him do the IQ test and he had a very low score. And he felt dumb, and his teachers also made him feel dumb, and they made him feel as if he wasn't an intelligent human being and he would not be successful. So he began to believe that about himself. Until later on, a couple years later, he had a teacher who actually believed in him and saw his potential. So she began to challenge him, and she began to push him a little bit more outside of his comfort zones and things like that, to create Robert into this very intelligent person who was very confident in his intelligence. And he began to believe that he was intelligent, maybe not in the sense of an IQ test or test scores, but he found that he was intelligent in and of himself. So he says from this age he had a desire to help with this theory of intelligence, to create an idea that it's not solely based around analytical thinking, it's not solely based on IQ or tests. So what he did after going to Yale and Stanford and studying in as a cognitive scientist, he created the Triarchic theory of intelligence, or the Triarchic theory of successful intelligence. And he believed that success should be rated on multiple factors, and that success didn't always mean intelligence, and that intelligence didn't always mean success. So his definition of intelligent was this. He said, intelligent behavior involves adapting to your environment or selecting a better environment. So he believed that you needed to either adapt to your environment, so you get your strengths, you understand your strengths, or where you're most intelligent, and you adapt. You either adapt to that environment, or you find an environment where your strength will soar, or you help cultivate an environment that you can be successful in. Anyway, with that, he created some components of intelligence. He has three main components of intelligence, which are analytical, creative, and practical intelligence. And these three differentiate depending on who you are. But he says that analytical is what a lot of the IQ tests are based off of. They're solely based off of mathematical equations. People who are very smart, people like Albert Einstein, who were literal geniuses. That's what analytical thinkers were, and that's what they looked like, and that's where they would be successful in. And then he also believed that creative thinkers, they're the ones who are great at relationships. They're great at forming relationships. They're great at coming up with new ideas and having an artistic view of life. A lot of times these people are like Picasso, maybe, people who have beautiful ideas, but maybe wouldn't be seen as their IQs are the highest. And then there's the practical intelligence. Practical intelligence is also known as maybe street smarts, meaning that you're very intelligent when it comes to applying the things you learn in class to the outside world. So for instance, mathematical skills you can apply outside and figure out how to make them work outside. Or creative skills, you understand that interpersonal relationships are very important, maybe in the business world, maybe in all aspects of life. Robert Sternberg believed that we focus on our strengths. We're usually strongest in one of those aspects, and when we focus on that strength, we find something that we're successful at, but then we're also able to adapt to wherever else we are, and that is true intelligence. We're able to adapt to being practical, or we're able to adapt to being analytical. But I have seen this true in my life, in the instance that my brother is very analytical thinker. He became an accountant, and he's always been that way, and I always thought I had to be that way because that was true intelligence, but in reality I found out later on in life social sciences ring very true to me because I'm very much of a thinker and an idea. I love forming ideas, and I love creating interpersonal relationships through like a therapeutical setting, and I found that was my success. But anyway, that's Robert Sternberg's Triarchic theory of intelligence.